Hey everyone, it's your good friend Insomniac here with the man himself, Shujinkydink.
Yo.
Um, you've probably noticed that we've actually missed a few months of the Bonehawk podcast. It looks like life has just been keeping both of us busy, and honestly, we can't thank you enough for all the support and understanding that you've given us. We wanted to make it up to you with something special, so I'm here today to interview Dink. We'll talk about his origin, his career as a pro fighting game player and YouTube content creator, his thoughts on the fighting game community, the Bonehawk Brotherhood, and what we can expect to see moving forward. And I just want to start out from the very beginning and just ask, how did you get interested in fighting games?
That's a question that goes like way back to when I was just a small lad. And my brother and I were in a bowling league. And the bowling alley had two arcades there. They had a Mortal Kombat one, and they had like a. Forget what the other one was. It was like a Bejeweled or some rip off of that. But it was pretty much there where I kind of got started like into it. It was Mortal Kombat 1, and we didn't know what we were doing at all when it came to fighting games. And we would see the bigger kids playing, and we put our quarters in, and basically just to watch them do the fatalities because they knew how to do them, and we thought that was really cool. So from there, it kind of moved on to getting the games on consoles, and then we kind of got out of it for a long time. I think I played up to Mortal Kombat 4, and then I kind of dropped off, and then I just randomly picked up Mortal Kombat Deception in like a bargain bin at Blockbuster one day, and yeah, just never looked back since then.
So uh, when did you actually begin playing like Mortal Kombat competitively?
Well, there's a couple different answers to that. I first started like taking it super seriously back in 2004 when I picked up Deception, and I really wanted to learn how to play fighting games and how they worked and really get better. And at that time, there was really no tournaments anywhere. I mean, Evo was just starting out, and they wouldn't have any Mortal Kombat games there. I think they had did a poll once to have Mortal Kombat Deception, but it didn't make it. The game was complete trash online. It was still, to this day, one of the funnest Mortal Kombat games, in my opinion. Really liked what they did with the Conquest mode. That made it really fun. And so that's really when I started. I'm taking it really seriously and playing all the time. And then I attended my first offline event in 2011, which was Devastation in Arizona. And I think I placed ninth. There was like 230 entrants or something like that. And yeah, my first offline event, and it was pretty big for me because a lot of people were saying that I was just an online warrior and I had to go offline to prove myself. And I did. I lost to, I think, B-Wiz and 16-Bit. And 16-Bit at one point on the commentary was like, man, I don't want to have to play that Quan Chi guy. So that was pretty flattering for my first offline event. So yeah, no, that's basically where I started.
Yeah, look at us now. Now you have to beg him for Quan Chi buffs.
Lord 16-Bit.
So I guess a lot of us are wondering, since most of us are a lot younger or have been entered the community a lot later, what was it like just being a part of the community back before online play was today?
It was a lot smaller and in a lot of ways a lot less toxic. Because everybody knew everybody, right? There was like maybe, I don't know, 30 players in the whole community. And this was way before Test Your Might was a thing. Before Test Your Might, there was Mortal Kombat United. And before Mortal Kombat United, there was Mortal Kombat Central. And before Mortal Kombat Central, there was Mortal Kombat Armageddon Central. And that's like the OG of OGs going back to there. You could go back even farther to Mortal Kombat Online, but the whole community was basically based on this one website. So what made it really fun was they had this really unique thing called the shout box that was just like a group chat on the front page of the website, and that's where you'd go to find games or talk with people or discuss things. And yeah, there was maybe like 30 people, and everybody knew each other. Everybody had games in. It was instead of tournaments, really, we had clan wars back then. They still do clan wars, but they're not as common these days. So that's kind of where we got like our fix for competitive type stuff, and it was it was a lot smaller. Everyone was more tight knit. There wasn't really as much drama. Here and there, there'd be the odd like outsider who would come in and cause drama. That was actually me at one point when I first started playing Mortal Kombat Deception. I just wanted to be number one on the ranked leaderboards. That was like the goal for me. So I would do all the scrubby things. I would like pull my connection out. I'd rage quit, all this stuff just to keep my number one spot. And it wasn't until I ran into one of the top players who went by the tag Easy to Beat, ironically enough. And he actually just like sent me a message. He said, "Hey man, you ever try like actually learning the game and like trying to play instead of just avoiding me every time we gotta play?" Because you can always decline people, and I saw his record and I was like, "No, I'm not playing him." So I ended up just playing like a set with him, and he sent me to the Mortal Kombat Armageddon Central, I think it was at the time. And I've made a thread there, like introducing myself, and everybody knew who I was from my scrubby antics.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you were coming in with a blank slate. You already had a reputation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, everyone was like, "Oh, you're that fucking rage quitter guy, or that guy who never plays, who always declines me." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's me." But they really taught me a lot and took me under their wing, and now I'm completely the opposite. So that's...
it's actually kind of interesting hearing like how much you have changed. Like it's kind of weird looking back, like, oh yeah, back when I was young I did all these scrubby things, but now I could definitely say that you're a well respected member of the community here.
Thanks, man.
Actually, come to think of it, you're one of the few OGs that are still active in the community. Like the people you played against, Pig of the Hut, Tom Brady, and most recently Perfect Legend. They no longer play NRS games competitively. There's like you, Rio, Playing to Win, M2 Dave. There are others I'm forgetting, but it's basically just y'all who like we're playing Mortal Kombat back when it was a 3D fighter. Everyone else, like the earliest that they go is Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah, that's true. The OGs of OGs are kind of gone, and there's a lot of them that people like a lot of names that people wouldn't even know that disappeared a long time ago too. So it's it's interesting when you kind of word it that way. That I'm still here all these years later, kind of. Who knows where it'll go or where it'll end, kind of deal.
Yeah, and I guess that does kind of segue that basically just talking about your fighting game and YouTube career. I know you started out very early on, so you've had many more years of experience than most of us here. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think are the most important lessons you've learned as you've grown in your competitive fighting game career?
That's a tough one. I've learned a lot. That offline is way different than online. And I'm not just talking like lag-wise, because honestly, like when I play the game offline, like with the netcode that we have now, it's really tough to even tell a difference for me. There's a slight difference in some really tight things, but all in all, it feels the same outside of like lag spikes and stuff like that. But it's more like the presence of like having somebody sitting next to you, having a group of people like watching you, if you're playing on a tournament on stream, that's some more. So there's the nerve aspect of it and being able to shut out everything other than what's on the screen and what you're doing. And that takes a lot of time and experience to kind of get over. And especially like when you think of the investment that you put into going to a tournament, the travel, the time, the money for a hotel room and all that stuff. And then you play, and then how you do determines whether your investment was really worth it or not, which in my opinion, never go to a tournament with money that you can't afford to lose, because anyone can go 0-2 at a tournament. So just go for the experience, go for just the fun and the thrill of the event, and being in a place that everybody is there with the same passion as you. And I think that's probably one of the main things. I guess as far as like leveling up and getting better, the number one thing I learned was to watch yourself lose. And that is like the cringiest, hardest thing to do, but it is the absolute best way to learn. I've fortunately got a lot of the losses for myself that I can go through, so I've done it quite a bit. And I always come out learning something. So that's probably what the most important things I've picked up on.
And that really is an important lesson. I know, I guess it comes with the nature of fighting games, but oftentimes it kind of brings out um, like vitriol from people that just haven't learned to take a loss. But I feel like even I have learned a lot more from my losses than I have from my wins. Um, do you have any advice that you could give players looking to sort of get better or get into fighting games more seriously?
Yeah, and I mean, first off, a quote that I always use for STB and my students and stuff as well is a loss is only a loss when nothing is gained. So when you lose, you really need to sit back and understand why you lost, and really bring that in. Kind of going back to what I was saying before. I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself or anything, but it's just people that make excuses like, oh, I only lost because I played this character, or I only lost because a leg spike or something like that. Maybe that was a factor, but I mean, if you got to the point where a lag spike affects your whole game, then you shouldn't have really been at that point anyways. So there's something else that you're doing wrong. As far as getting into the community and stuff, I mean, just networking, being active on social media, going to websites like Test Your Might or something like that, and just being part of that character community, and I don't know, just finding some people that you really mesh with and getting in there. And the community is pretty welcoming. There is a few toxic people here and there, and that's just going to be any community you find. But just kind of being active and getting your name out there. I think that's probably the best way to get into the community.
Yeah, and it is an important thing that you mentioned. A lot. I feel like a lot of what people don't realize is that like the people out there that are doing the best, that are getting these sponsorships or these top eights, they're the ones with the connections. They didn't start out by just being good and acting like an asshole the entire way through. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some assholes in the community, but they had to prove themselves before they started acting like assholes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, everyone starts at the bottom. Like I remember, once upon a time, Dragon. Some of you may know, just a little competitor named Dragon. I used to play him online in Mortal Kombat X. He used to go under the tag Dragon Warrior XVI, I think it was, and he played Ermac, and he wasn't very good. I mean, when I first met him, he was okay. I think he got like a top 16 once in like the ESL season 1, and he was pretty pumped on that. And then he's kind of just moved on, gotten better, and always played. And he's Evo champion, E-League champion, best player in the world in my opinion at the current moment. So yeah,
Oh yeah, I remember that controversy.
Yeah, yeah. It's a hot topic for sure, and I ain't talking about the store.
Yeah. Yeah, I think beyond like what Dragon has accomplished in tournament, I feel like, or at least he's made it appear as though he's really changed his attitude about the way he approaches fighting games. I think I remember a few years back, actually maybe only like during Mortal Kombat X even, there were allegations of scrubby tactics that he was using, and he was getting crapped on by the community because of it.
I wouldn't doubt that, man. I mean, everyone starts somewhere, and sometimes like you do it for reasons that you don't really understand. Is like scrubby at the time. It's just like when I was doing it back in the day, I just wanted to be number one. Didn't matter how I get there. I just wanted to get there. And I didn't really realize that what I was doing was like super frowned upon until like I knew it wasn't like the biggest like morally right thing to do, but I didn't realize that there's actually a community of people that were trying to get better, and once I found that out, it totally changed my attitude on that.
Yeah, and I think another important thing to point out is we're bringing up like the quote unquote bad parts of ourselves, like our past. But I don't consider that to make us any less of a person. Or, in fact, I would even say that it makes us even better of a person to be able to acknowledge um, what we did wrong in the past and bring it up. I honestly feel like when it comes to just looking at people in general, it makes much more sense to judge people for who they are rather than who they were.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that goes for anything, fighting games and life and stuff in general is, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to, do some things that aren't more within reason. I'm not saying, go out and murder and rape and pillage people. That's definitely not. But like making mistakes and like, it's okay to do that every once in a while. And as long as you acknowledge it and you work on getting better, there's really nothing you can do. To err is human, right? So you just got to roll with the punches, I guess.
Yeah, and like you said, the only losses are the ones you don't learn from.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on to, I guess, your YouTube channel. I know you started out back in Mortal Kombat X. I think I was like among the first 100 subscribers, if I'm not mistaken. I stumbled upon your channel after I saw you wreck Perfect Legend back when Mortal Kombat X was in its vanilla days.
Oh man, yeah, that was a great set. That was that was a pretty good victory. I remember I was talking to Brian Compton, who used to he's a good friend of mine. He used to commentate the first season of the ESL. And he was so hyped for that match. He was like, "Yeah, you're playing Perfect Legend. Oh my God, we're gonna get that on stream for sure." And he was just so happy that I won after that. He's been a big supporter for a long time. And if you go to if you're ever bored, go to YouTube and look up that fight and just look at the comment section of it. It is hilarious. I love it. So much hate for me in that one.
I just thought it was really funny, and like probably back in then you're like beating Perfect Legend, it's like, oh my God, I outplayed him so hard.
Yeah, exactly. He actually tweeted that after that fight. He's like, well, I definitely just got outplayed. Just like so salty. It's great.
Yeah, so I guess I'm glad I stumbled across that YouTube video because it did make me discover you, and I think starting out with Injustice 2, I mean, we had like 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah, we blew the fluff up in May and June. I think we got almost like 13,000 subscribers in those 2 months alone. It's been, the growth from Injustice 2 was incredible, and it was just timing and just making sure that I put out the right videos at the right time, that I tagged them properly so people could find them, and networked and stuff. So it was it was great. And we're still growing every day. We've slowed down obviously from that initial hype of Injustice 2 release, but we still have a really good community, and we're still growing every day and not going to the negative, so that's good.
Yeah, definitely. That's good to hear. Actually, when did you decide to make YouTube content creation like a more serious profession, like something that you put a lot of your energy into?
Yeah, that was probably about 3 years ago, I think, when I actually decided to do YouTube. See if I could do it as a kind of a career type deal. I was just watching just some random stuff on YouTube, and I didn't really realize that being a content creator was a thing. I mean, everyone uses YouTube one way or another, like looking what kind of a light bulb to buy, or how to fix a car or something like that. But I never really thought of it as like a career type deal. And when I looked into it more, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Here's something that I really like to do. That's my passion, and I can make a career out of it. So I think, about 3 years ago now, I think, and then 2 years ago, I decided to go full-time and make daily content. And that's when things really started to pick up and take off. Because YouTube likes that kind of stuff, when you're making content all the time. The more content, obviously, the more ads that YouTube can put on it and make more money, I guess. So they promote you more. But, it's just something that, they say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life or something like that. I don't know the exact quote, but it was something along those lines. And that's kind of that's kind of what it feels like. Like right now, I'm kind of like in a little bit of a burnout from like 2 years of trying every day to put out a new video. So I decided just to kind of lay back a little bit for January, take a few days off here and there. But I'm already seeing the benefits of that and ready to kind of get back into it, because I always feel guilty if I don't make a video for a day, and it's like, oh man, I'm letting everybody down. I'm gonna go back to my channel. I'm gonna have like minus 5,000 subscribers because I missed an update, you know. But everyone's been super patient and stuff, so I appreciate that. But it's been a crazy ride, and we'll kind of see where it goes from here, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the Bonehawk community as a whole has a lot of understanding, and I'm really appreciative of that. We're not like a needy girlfriend where if you don't text her for a day, she breaks up with you.
That's a good analogy. I like that.
Let's see. What do you think about the fighting game community as a whole and how it's developed?
It's come a long way. We have a lot of people in the FGC, and what do I have mixed feelings about it, because there's it seems like these days it's not. Back in Mortal Kombat 9, there was a lot more hype, I thought. Because you had like all these different rivalries going on. Like you had New York, you had Chicago, you had Atlanta, and then you had SoCal. And just like the rivalry between them all, like they used to have like all these like hotel casuals. People would always like look forward to the hotel casual stream where people were doing money matches and like grudge matches and stuff. And you just don't really see that with Injustice 2. And I think that's because it got so big into the esports that kind of sense of tight-knit community is kind of gone a little bit. Like, I don't remember the last time that I watched like a hotel stream from a major tournament, or watching just money matches and stuff. It's been a long time. And it's just stuff like that I remember going to final round 2012 and going into I don't even know whose hotel room it was, but there had to have been like 30 guys in there and 2 consoles, and they're just money matches. Pig of the Hut was streaming off of one of them. I mean, it smelled terrible in there, don't get me wrong, it was awful, but it was just like it was just this sense of community that they're all these guys are so passionate and just playing for the love of the game, and they put up their money just to add a little incentive to playing. Like I was on the stream setup. I think I won like 4 or 5 money matches in a row. I beat Big D in one of them, actually. And it was like, as soon as you lose, you're off, and the next guy goes on. So
Okay.
yeah, so it was stuff like that I really miss about it, because it's esports now and everyone's so competitive, and I think they're really scared to play as a group. They have their little cliques that kind of do their own thing. So I don't know. It's definitely been good for the game as far as growth wise goes, because it gets it out there to more people, more eyes on it. We're the biggest now we've ever been. That's awesome. I love that. I do have to say that I miss the tight-knit community feel that Mortal Kombat 9 had, though.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, back when it was more of a niche community, I'd imagine that's sort of what the community was centered around. But I guess now that it's definitely picked up steam, it looks like a lot of this stuff that you only find in small communities is kind of fading away. We don't really see it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, this one is actually a pretty hot topic. I know that you've tweeted about it, I think, or maybe even made a video, but I'm not sure. But I want to talk about it again here. What do you think about the online competitive scene compared to the offline competitive scene?
Ooh, yeah, that is a hot topic. I think the talent levels are definitely there, and they're the same. You do have skilled guys like Rewind who play a lot online. He's gone offline here and there, and there's a few others that seem to do quite well online. Emperor Combat is another one that I can think of. But
oh yeah, ranked number 1 on the leaderboards.
Is he ranked number one? I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, he's ranked number 1 now.
Wow, good for him. Yeah, his Firestorm's sick, man. I've played him a couple times. He beats my ass. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you also have like kind of two different leagues. Like you got the War of the Gods tournament that's online and sponsored by StreamMe and that kind of thing, and then you have all your offline majors and stuff too. So it's good that there's options for players on both sides. As far as like saying who the best in the world is, I would definitely say you can't be considered in that league if you play online. Maybe theoretically, but there are rankings, and you do need to prove yourself as a player offline. Like put your money up, because like I was saying earlier, there's a different feel when you spend all this money to travel and play offline than there is just kind of playing online and just from the comfort of your own couch. Stepping out of your comfort zone and really trying to compete is definitely a lot different. So, I mean, you could have guys online that beat Dragon and Sonic Fox all the time, like effortlessly. But if you never go offline and do it in a tournament, I don't really think that you can brag about much. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, you could always beat a pro on a one-off thing and then post it on YouTube. It doesn't make you the top player.
That's right. That's what I do.
Yeah, and I like that the point that you brought up when it comes to like the money that you put in, the investment, right? A lot of people have mentioned, kind of like a counter argument, that online should be treated no differently because not everyone can afford to travel to these events to compete. And I disagree with that completely. Competitive fighting games are no different from any other competitive activity. There are competitions for martial arts, gymnastics, archery, shooting, all kinds of things where people travel to prove themselves. Nobody's going to take you seriously if you brag about being the best marksman in your local range. Even for like less games, other games like the Poker World Series, you see like the best of the best. Just going at constant mind games at one another with these cards, thinking about the odds, what the other person's going to do. Imagine if you bragged about being good at online poker. Do you think anyone is going to take you seriously?
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you there.
So we talked about a lot of the changes and how the community used to be. I was wondering if you think there's anything that you'd like to see happen in the future with the community, like things that are starting to develop that you want to see become more center stage, or things that you don't see that you want to start seeing, either stuff from the past or stuff moving forward.
That's a tough question. What do I like to see from the community? I'd like to see some more rivalry, honestly. Like I was mentioning before, there's lots of good scenes out there, but I think with how good online has become with the new netcode, it's kind of killed that a bit. You don't need to go to your offline locals. Like Mortal Kombat 9, the netcode was atrocious. You couldn't really play online and then be competitive offline. So you needed those locals, but you don't really need them anymore. So I would like to see some more rivalry between some people, maybe some trash talk here and there. But yeah,
I feel like the trash talk has died down quite a lot. I mean, part of it is because of the nature of online. Like, if some guy trash talks you, you could just screenshot it and then like post it on Twitter. Hey, look at this asshole.
Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely seen that before too. There's like a Facebook group where people they post a bunch of shit on there. Like they'll just post a screenshot of some hate mail they get or something like that. It's like just exposing people. But I like to see it more in like the higher levels and more like outside of competition exhibition type stuff. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. That is definitely something that I would like to see. And it doesn't even have to happen necessarily offline. Like, we could definitely orchestrate these things together. We could do that. We could find players that are having a little bit of a dispute. We'll just bring them in, and then they can prove their worth right there. Put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's not a bad idea. They do that kind of thing on the the Clash, I think it's called, every Friday now on the Stream Me. But yeah, it'd be pretty cool if we could have like a little show where we bring on the beef. That was another show they used to do. The beef was who used to do that? Jordan used to have those streams every once in a while. It was like a 1st to 10 or something like that. I think I played on one of them. One Scorpion player called me out or something, and I think I beat him 10-0. It wasn't a Scorpion player. I had played a Scorpion player and played. I don't remember. It was too long ago. I won one and I lost one, but it was kind of what that thing was settling stuff between people. So yeah, it might be something interesting we could look at.
Yeah, and I definitely agree that like the rivalries, like trash talk, that makes things interesting. It brings up the hype as long as it's, handled within reason. If it becomes too toxic, obviously it's a problem. But like when it's done correctly, it can make it so much more exciting.
Yeah, it adds that like emotional aspect to it for the viewer, right? Like, you want to see so and so win because he was right in whatever argument he had or something like that.
Or he plays your character.
Yeah, exactly. You want to see the person, or he plays your characters. You want to see him lose because you want to be better with your character or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just adds that emotional human element to it, other than just like here's two people playing, which one's better kind of deal.
Yeah, I feel like people are getting a little bit more sensitive, so that's maybe part of the reason why it's dying down. I remember I was trying to start a rivalry. Some of you who visit the Injustice subreddit might see it, but like I was having this argument with this guy, and I just kept wanting to fight him. Like I was constantly goading him, and then eventually he just kept dodging me and just insulting me, and then eventually he got banned, and I'm like, who am I going to argue with now?
They banned the only troll.
Yeah, it's like that was my rivalry.
Oh, you're a king at shit posting. You'll find another one, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess we can move on to the next big topic, which is the Bonehawk Brotherhood. It was more of an informal community, and then it became more of a thing. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering how the Bonehawk Brotherhood develops into the community that it is today.
Well, that goes back to the start of Mortal Kombat X, and a lot of people ask that, what's a Bonehawk? I get that question all the time, because, a lot of people weren't around in Mortal Kombat days, which is fine. But I was playing with my friend Johnny 2D, and he was a blast to play with, man. We'd play like 1st to 40, and we'd just be laughing the whole time. And one day he just randomly said, like, why do the skeletons have bone mohawks? And I never like paid attention to it before. In Quan Chi's win pose, they come up and he called it the Bonehawk, and I just thought it was hilarious. And I kind of started saying it on my streams and stuff that I would do. And then, the community kind of started to refer to themselves as the Bonehawks. It's like same way that, the skeletons are like behind Quan when he wins. They're behind me, when I play. So it was really kind of a cool feel. There's, they actually have their own official Twitter. I don't know if it's been used in like years, but it's I think it's like at the Bonehawk Brotherhood or Bonehawk Official or something like that. I don't even know who created it. Somebody created it and was tweeting.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. I think it was. My theory is there's this kid named Chase that was like a big fan way back in the day, and it was him that made it. Because there's a PlayStation group too. There's actually 2 of them, I think. One's for the lessons and stuff that I do, and then there was another one that was created for Mortal Kombat. Once upon a time.
Huh.
Yeah, well, that's like going way back, and then it just kind of snowballed, and it's kind of into what it is today. And I think it was we're going on our 2nd year almost. I just decided, someone was like, you know what, you should do lessons for people. And actually, my very first student was a gentleman by the name of Evil Presence. And he just messaged me out of the blue one day and said, hey, can I pay you for lessons? And that was just something that just never occurred to me. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. So I started doing lessons with him. And then I was like, well, maybe I could open this up to be kind of bigger. And then I was scared because I'm like, I don't know how many people are actually going to sign up for it. So I opened up the official Bonehawk Brotherhood with like different tiers, and I think you and Fro Magna Man were the two first people to sign up. And I was so excited. I was like, yay, people don't hate me or think I'm a scumbag for trying to start lessons. People were actually interested in it. And then it's gotten so popular now that it's crazy. Now I have 24 students, and, watching them grow as players every month. And I got everybody from the guy who literally wants to learn how not to just mash his face on his controller, all the way up to guys who are winning tournaments and competing offline, getting sponsored, that kind of thing. So it's really cool to see like the diversity of the player base within the community itself.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that no matter the skill level, like, that you've proven that you can help people, that you can help them get better. And I think that's part of the reason why I've stuck with you all these years, because there's something more to you than just the content that you produce, and I think it's something that y'all ought to check out.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's I love helping people get better and watching it, and I'm getting to the point in my career where I don't really like. I wanted that Evo medal. I really wanted an Evo medal really badly. And now I'm at the point where I don't really care anymore. Like, I still like to go to events and compete, but I don't care about being in the top 8. That's not like my goal every time I go. I just want to do good and, try and get out of my pool. That's like the main goal for me. Like, I never wanted to be Sonic Fox or anything like that, but I have a lot of knowledge that I've obtained over the years. It's like a football coach or a hockey coach or something like that, Like, yeah, maybe they're not going to win the Stanley Cup if you put them on the ice, but they sure know how to tell someone how to do it, so.
Yeah, and I think that's another important thing to point out. Being a good player does not necessarily mean that you're a good teacher.
I've actually heard that from some of my students. So, yeah, that's good. It's, being able to articulate and really... there's a certain amount of like empathy and stuff that goes into it too. Like, really, I have to put my mind in wherever these guys are. Like, there's if I'm teaching somebody who's like at the very lower level of gameplay, I really have to try and think how they think. I don't want to overwhelm them with like, all right, so this is how you discover how gaps are made in strings by taking frame data A, frame data B. You really have to like start at different levels and build them up. And then the same thing when I get to the top level. I don't want to be, redundant with some things that I was saying. I have to be a little bit more nitpicky with the better guys and just kind of, because they're very good. And a lot of them are, they go toe-to-toe with me. So I really have to find really specific things for them to work on to get better. So it's challenging as a teacher as much as it is a player. So.
And how do you think being we see how being a mentor has impacted the students? They're getting a lot of results. We have Lord V Noodles. He's doing really well in tournaments, and he got a sponsor not too long ago. Agility, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, he's been killing it, man. So he's gonna travel a lot this year. I'm really excited to see him take off.
Yeah, and I also myself recently got a sponsor, so this is it's pretty exciting news for me.
Yeah, congratulations on that again, man. By the way, that's pretty exciting. So are we going to see you at Combo Breaker then? You coming out?
We're still working out the contracting stuff, so I'm sure I'll be able to get back to you on that one.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I actually detracted from the question. I feel like I just went from like the interview to just bragging about myself.
It's all good, man. It's quite the accomplishment. So tell the world, scream it from the mountaintops, right?
Hi, Mom.
Look at me, I'm on YouTube.
I play video games for a living.
Oh, man.
Going back to the question, we see how you being a mentor has impacted your students. I wanted to ask you, how do you think being a mentor has impacted you?
It's helped me in a lot of ways, actually. It really helped me kind of like I was saying before, put myself in a different mindset. But there's sometimes things that if I'm teaching or something that I myself haven't worked on in a long time, and here, I'm reminded of it by, watching somebody else and like, oh yeah, that's something that I could probably benefit from too. So as a player, it helps, it's a good refresher for me to go back through things that I haven't thought of in a while, and really, revisit them. And then like as a person, just watching all these guys, and seeing their successes and stuff. Like one guy that I teach, his tag is Vertigo 789. He was just casual kind of guy, and he got to play like an hour or two a night, and he plays Black Canary, and he actually decided to go into the War of the Gods last week, and he did like really well. He got almost to the finals of his pool. It went like 3-2 or something like that. So it's pretty cool to see, someone who just maybe starts out casually, then they kind of dip their toes into the competitive side of things, and they do really well. It's just really cool to follow them, and I don't know. It's kind of, you feel like almost like a father figure sometimes. it's I don't know really how else to put it. I know that sounds a little weird, but it's how I feel. Watching everyone kind of grow and get better. So
Yeah, I definitely understand the feeling. I've been a mentor for various other activities, and when you see your students succeed, it feels like they're your successes too. Like, it doesn't take away from the students, but it makes you feel good because they're their students. They're representing you indirectly. They're saying, I'm a student of Shujinkydink. I did well. You know what that says about you? You're a damn good teacher.
yeah, like it's it's good, and in the same sense, I don't want to take all the credit for their success either.
About future plans, about everything, I suppose. I'll start with, what do you have planned for your competitive fighting game career?
Like I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of slowing down on the competitive fronts. I'm probably going to like maybe 1 or 2 majors this year. That's about it. I'm focusing more on family the older I get. My son's getting older, doing more activities and stuff, so I'm taking a little bit of a step back from competition. But I always try and compete online events whenever I can. I do the War of the Gods when I can. It sucks. It always comes on days where I can't make it though. Like they for their last season, they were doing it on, I think it was on Saturdays, but I ended up working like almost every Saturday. And then they switched it to be on Sundays, and then my day job switched to actually opening on Sundays, so that had to work. So it didn't work out that way. But I do try and like compete whenever I can, just to kind of keep myself fresh out there. And I love the thrill of competing. Like there's nothing better than like sitting down at a console next to somebody and playing like a 1-3 in a tournament. Like it's great. I just love the feeling, win or lose. It's awesome either way. And I think almost anybody that I've lost to in tournament will tell you that I do it with a smile. I'm never really salty about much. I'll smile, or I'll give a little chuckle. Good games, man. Like when I was playing at Evo against White Boy, that's kind of like, yeah, I got beat. It's cool. It's whatever. I try not to get salty about it, and it's very rare that I get salty in person. If I lose to somebody that I really wanted to beat, sometimes I'll be like more disappointed, but I very rarely ever get salty. I've seen some salty people though.
Yeah, very emotional players. Man, I miss Madsen. He's no longer part of the scene, but he was one of the most emotional players out there.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think Madsen will be back. A lot of fighting game players, they never really retire. They try to retire, but they always want to come back. It's like when a lot of athletes do the same thing. Sometimes they kind of end up Chuck Liddelling themselves. That's an MMA reference. I don't know if you'll get it, but they come back and then they just lose worse, and it just kind of ruins any sort of legacy they had. That's why I'm kind of going to taper off and just compete here and there, but I'm not gonna make a whole lot of stink about being better. But I don't know. That's the only player that I've seen successfully retire was 16-bit, and that was more because he had to, because he legally can't compete in tournaments where NRS is providing pot bonuses. So outside of him, everyone's kind of said they're retired and they come back. So
Yeah. Pig of the Hut, he retired 3 times, and each time he made a comeback, he did worse.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. He retired twice from MKX, and
then so far he's in his 3rd retirement for Injustice 2.
He's doing a good job of sticking it out, though. I mean, I follow him on Twitter and stuff, and he hasn't really been tweeting a whole lot of FGC stuff here and there, but he's doing a good job of staying away. So we'll see what happens with him.
I wouldn't know he blocked me on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
I made one joke. I think it was a single joke where I was like, it looks like retiring is like really cool because Pig of the Hut has done it 3 times already. And then he just like said, what the fuck do you know? Yeah. Oh, look at your account. You're a waste of time. And then he blocked me.
Yeah, he's I've known him for since I started back 2004, and he's always been that way. He's super emotional and like he's a hothead, man. Like, but he'll be your best friend one minute and then like your biggest hater the next. It's just, I don't know, it's just whatever's going on in his mind and where his priorities are. It depends on how he treats you. So it's, who knows? He could have you unblocked tomorrow if you have something he needs.
Yeah. Once I become useful to him, that's when he'll contact me.
Sounds about right.
No, I have no salt towards that. I honestly think it was kind of funny that he took it so personally. Because, I mean, I don't think even the people that I beef with, I legitimately hate anyone. Like, for the most part, I feel like everyone in the community is really friendly, and I'm sure you could add on to that.
Yeah, for the most part, they are. I mean, there's you always have your kind of exceptions here and there, but I mean, no one's really like a super big asshole. And Song Fox will teabag you, but he's not. That's not really malicious. It's just what he does. So it's
it's almost his trademark. And honestly, if you don't want to get teabagged, then don't be in a position where they can teabag you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Going back to future plans, do you have anything in store for the YouTube channel?
This year should be a busy one. We got the Dragon Ball FighterZ coming out, so I'm going to play around with that. I wasn't a huge fan of the playstyle of the game, like the anime kind of playstyle, Marvel vs. Capcom kind of thing. Those are both games I've never played, so I feel like super out of my element playing that. But I'll give it a shot because I might like it. It was the same with Soul Calibur. When I played Soul Calibur, I didn't really enjoy it that much, but as soon as I got deeper into it, I actually really liked it. So I'm hoping, leading into that, Soul Calibur 6 is coming out. I think it's just, I don't know if they had a release date yet. Is it June this year? For some reason, I want to say it's June this year.
I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that.
I could be wrong.
So hopefully they'll do the. Oh, sorry, you were saying?
Yeah. So hopefully, it looks like they're going back in time in the Soul Calibur lore, which I only started with Soul Calibur 5, and my character was a new character that was introduced. So, mind you, she was just a clone of a different one, so they might have her in it. I know that Soul Calibur is a legacy game, so that would make it a lot easier for me if I could just pick up the similar character I was using before and continue. But, yeah, no, that's exciting. That's coming out. Then we have Omen of Sorrow is coming out this year. That was a game that a lot of people really liked the demo. I enjoyed the demo. I thought it was pretty fun. Kind of felt like an NRS game, just the way it plays and stuff. So I'm really excited to see the final thing of that. I'll probably play that a bit. So we got lots coming up in 2018, and then moving on. Then we're gonna start getting Mortal Kombat 11 teasers like any month now. So I'm super stoked to cover all of that stuff as it comes out. So lots of stuff happening.
Yeah, no, that's definitely gonna be exciting. Going back to the classic bloody fatalities that brought us kind of all into the franchise.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've said it before, Injustice 2 is a great game. Actually, I think it's probably the most balanced NRS game that they've ever made. I really enjoy it. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I love the neutral. I love like the pace of the game. I actually like it a lot better than Mortal Kombat X as far as gameplay wise. It's just people say it's more zoning heavy, but there's not really a whole lot of zoners left in in Injustice 2, and the ones that are there's not really a whole lot they can do up close, so it kind of balances itself out, like Dr. Fate and to an extent Deadshot. But
Deadshot is now a rushdown character.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't zone anymore.
Yeah, it's I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Mortal Kombat 11. I hope that they kind of go back to a similar style that they had back in Mortal Kombat 9, where it was like more neutral heavy and that kind of thing. And they did that a little bit with Injustice 2. So we'll see what happens with definitely. That. But lore-wise, Mortal Kombat always has my heart, and that's where I started. So as a whole, I love the Mortal Kombat games way better than Injustice. But Injustice 2 just had some really good gameplay.
Yeah, I love both of the series. Like, I'm a fan of DC, I'm a fan of Mortal Kombat. When it comes to gameplay, like, I think Injustice 2 is more rewarding of smart play. Mortal Kombat, you can get away with a lot of fraudulent stuff and, like, actually win. I remember Immortal Angel towards the end of the game was just so damn random that I think he 3-0'd Tweety. He 3-0'd a lot of other really top guys because he just did not play quote-unquote properly.
Yeah, he was
like that shouldn't happen.
He was an interesting one to watch. His Scorpion was all over the fucking map. I remember I've played him a couple times, and I remember him doing stuff like I'd be like, "Why would you do that?" Like that makes like no sense.
Is there? I guess. No, I think this is probably a good place to sort of end this. Do you have any last things that you probably want to say to all of us that are watching?
Well, first off, I want to thank you for interviewing me. I really appreciate that. It's kind of cool to be able to talk about some stuff that I haven't talked about for a while. Yeah,
I'm glad.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks to everyone that's listening to this. If you're still listening to this, then hashtag Bonehawks and all that stuff. Because this has been about an hour now, I think. So it's pretty cool. But I'm really excited for 2018. Lots of stuff coming up. We're probably going to be a little bit more mixed as far as content goes. I'm really having so much fun playing Mortal Kombat 9 again. I cannot wait to compete in that game again. That is one thing competitively that I never got in the Mortal Kombat 9 days, was like a top 8 at a major tournament. And I know that the game is dead now and no one really cares about it, but it's like a me thing that I really want to get a top 8, and I think I can do it. I think I'm ready for it. So I'm actually grinding Mortal Kombat 9 more than I am Injustice 2 for this event coming up. Because that's just how much I care about it. Like, this could be my last chance at a Mortal Kombat 9 top 8, and I'm not missing out on it. So, yeah.
I mean, as crazy as Mortal Kombat 9 was, like, it is what jump-started the community, like, what it's become today. Like, it's become so large because of how well NetherRealm Studios, after they came out of Midway Games, like how well they've been able to reinvigorate the series with life.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 was a turning point for the community. Like, it definitely wasn't the same, because there was quite the lull there. Because Mortal Kombat Armageddon was like the last big game that they came out with. They had Mortal Kombat versus DC, but that was such a flop. That game was such a joke.
That game was, oh man.
A lot of players actually stopped playing Mortal Kombat versus DC. Like, Playing to Win, Pig of the Hut, they played Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter 4 during that time. And just kind of, so there was like, between the release of Armageddon and Mortal Kombat 9, like, I think that was like a good 5 or 6 years where there was just this lull, and all of a sudden it came back, and it was huge. And then you saw even like Street Fighter players like L.I. Joe and stuff coming into play Mortal Kombat 9. So it was definitely a magical time for the community. So it was playing it always kind of brings me back to there. I sound like it's like an old man, like sitting on a porch or something like that, talking about the good old days.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Dink and I are not that much. There's not much difference in age, but I guess the real first to 40 is the one you're going to hit in 10 years.
Oh, God. Thanks, man. You're sweet. Oh, that was good. Just gonna have to digest that for a minute.
So, thanks again, everyone, for watching. I'm glad I got the opportunity to interview Dink. Hopefully, you got to learn more about him and apparently me. I think I started talking about myself randomly at some point. So enjoy that.
Good job, man. Just sneak it in there. All right, guys. Well, that's it.
I think we're. Oh yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm sure you probably have. That's why you're watching this. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video, guys.